Hey there, AMC Turn fans. Welcome to another episode of the AMC Turn After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight we are talking about Season 3, Episode 8, Mended. We are gearing up for the season finale in a few weeks, so there is so much to talk about. Everybody got a little bit to do in this week's episode. Stay tuned because we're going to talk about it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Wait for it. Wait, that's the wrong song.
The moment you've been waiting for. The pride of Mount Vernon.
I feel like this is appropriate given the fact that the Tonys were this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. The Hamiltonies, 11 Tony Awards, including Best Actor, Best Featured Actor, Best Featured Actress, and Best Musical.
Yes, and it's, again, with what's going on in this week's episode, too, on the Ben side of things, this was a very, very appropriate song. We'll get to that in just a moment. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the AMC Turn Show. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel, Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet.
Keith Black.
And I'm Keith Black, and you can find me all over the internet at Keith W. Black.
And I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter at the Mangwin. That's T-H-E. Sorry, T-H-E-M-E-N-G-U-I-N. My apologies. I was trying to multitask and pull up iTunes at the same time, and my brain it just flatlined for a moment.
Oh, there's Hamilton.
Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
That's why I can't. I know you listen to it at work all the time. I can't listen to it and actively do things because it's so compelling. You just get caught up in everything. I don't know how you listen to it and still be productive.
I've listened to it so much that I can.
I can't do it.
I've actually never even heard it.
You've never listened to the soundtrack?
No, I'm sorry. I think if I'm gonna see it or listen to it, I want to see it in person.
You know what?
There's
fair.
so much in the soundtrack that you miss things the first half dozen times.
I'm an attentive listener.
You will be blown away by the choreography, almost too much to hear what they're saying.
You know, honestly, that's fair, though, because there are certain musicals that I listened to religiously when I was in high school, and then when I finally saw the show, I'm like, it's really cool to see it all come together, but you're spoiled for the entire thing.
You're
so
singing along.
I mean, granted, you're also spoiled if you know history.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with this. It's
and same with this show, to be fair. But you know what? I say pick a few songs and give those a listen to kind of gauge.
Teaser, yeah.
Well, and the other thing is that tickets are so expensive, you will never get to see it unless you're a millionaire at this point.
That's discouraging.
It's, that's supply and demand for you. If you guys want a microcosm.
Group rates. Group rates.
But yeah, for all of you guys who are following along on the live chat and the hashtag, we're going to be keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVTurn. And if you guys haven't already done so, please go to iTunes to rate, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing from you guys. And when you do leave a comment on iTunes, you guys get a shout out on the show. It is the best way to let our producers know that you like the show that we're putting on and that you enjoy talking about the Revolutionary War. Because, oh my gosh, guys, there is so much to talk about tonight. I feel like I say that every week, but this season in particular, it's so dense.
It is a very dense show. They fit a lot. Like I said, for last week, after the first 3 minutes, that's a nice episode.
That was
God, there's a whole episode left to go.
That was a great episode. We still have, oh God, so much to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you weren't here last week, Keith. So watching last week's episode and this week's episode, probably a lot to digest.
It was a lot to digest, especially with Mary. I think that she got
she the best?
She got some accolades in my book.
Hashtag Ranger Danger.
Yeah, well, I mean, we definitely predicted a little bit when she's just knocking the noggin off of the scarecrow a ways back. We're like, all right, well, that was good. When's this going to come into action?
Yeah.
So it was nice to get, to see it happen to somebody that is as despised as Simcoe is. I mean, naturally, when he hit the ground, I was like, wow, that...
Yeah, for a moment, you're like...
Because you don't you never expect a character of that magnitude.
Hand.
Yeah, I'm assuming, no, he's fine. She's going to wing him in the shoulder. And then you just see his head tilt, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, shift. I'm digging it. Let's see where this goes.
Not gonna lie, probably my favorite moment of semi-levity in this week's episode was just the two of them sitting at the breakfast table.
This is not in any capacity awkward.
All bandaged
Not
up.
at all.
And how well does she play it? She's sitting there
played
with her
it so
son
great.
eating breakfast, and he's across, half of his face bloodied and bandaged, and she doesn't bat an eye. She's like, "Oh, well, it's looking good."
Well, and she's never killed a person before, and she took out two.
She
one.
took
She
out
killed
one.
one, and she definitely shot Simcoe in the face, or as close as she could get.
Savagely.
Your ear
Killed
is
one.
part of your face. That's what I'm going with.
And although at the same time you can see her going like internally, like damn. Because
absolutely.
Had it been a few inches the other way, I would have died. And we're just like, yeah, we won't make that mistake again.
damn. But
I'm saying if the window was open though, she would have been
Well,
fine. She had
if
to go
he-
through glass. I'm thinking maybe
if he hadn't, it's the ballistics.
Yeah,
of
her
it.
marksmanship was on point in my mind. I think that she had it.
Oh yeah, no, we were saying last week the sights on those things are absolutely terrible. The fact that she got that close is remarkable.
Incredible.
Yeah, those are hilariously inaccurate.
Well, and if he hadn't moved, because initially she had a straight-on shot, he went upstairs. She had to completely reevaluate her aim. So
So that was
fair
pretty
enough.
dang good for that.
And
Anyway,
going up
yes.
2 stories. Yeah. Anyway, to get back to this week's episode, yeah, there's a ton. Let's go ahead and start talking about Setauket because although before we do, I want to give a quick shout out to Caitlin in the hashtag who's joining us live for the first time in the live chat. So hi, Caitlin.
Yeah, she's in the
Caitlin.
chat. She says Queen Ranger.
Queen
is
Ranger.
married.
like that.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. But yeah, let's start with Setauket because in the wake of last week's episode, we have Simcoe essentially on the warpath. And as awesome as last week's episode was, we brought it up. None of this is resolved. Simcoe's still alive. Mary and Thomas and to an extent Richard are still under house arrest essentially.
Abe definitely is.
Yeah, Abe is under house arrest on the completely other end of town. Caleb is still running around without a boat to be able to flee town. So none of the stuff from last week was resolved. And we have Simcoe, who's not only still alive, but mad as hell. Like, talk about, like, hitting the hornet's nest.
Absolutely.
Because he is literally out for blood in this episode. It's terrifying.
They've managed to convince him that it's Robert Rogers, and then, yeah.
Oh.
The problem is that trail goes cold real fast.
And that's the scary part, is that when it does go cold, I mean, even initially he jumps to such a conclusion, and you can see that he's had such confidence in what he believed and what he believed to be accurate because of the clues that has been laid before him, to now he's just jumping to wild conclusions. And eventually people, it's like when your parents, you come home when you're a kid and your parents kind of like say, "Oh, did you do X, Y, Z?" And you're like, "Oh, yeah, you got me." And they didn't know, and they just get you to rat on yourself. And that's what he's doing. He's going up to everyone and getting them to just, out of pure fear, to get them to rat on themselves of whatever secret they may have, to the point where he even goes compelled to strike at random, where he's like,
Yeah.
I'll just randomly start attacking people and try to learn what they know. And that is pure just vengeance and anger.
Yeah, that's
I'm
like
just gonna murder people. That's good, right?
like Salem witch hunt and like Spanish Inquisition method
Absolutely.
of interrogation.
Well, no one expected it.
Nope. Because nobody ever expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes, that was the joke.
Yes. Yep. Thank you. Thank you for that. But the
Zero regrets.
But yeah, and poor. I mean, I don't want to feel bad for a character like Robeson because let's not forget he's a murderer too. But this was unnecessarily brutal because he just storms into the tavern formerly known as the Strong Tavern. And,
New album.
yeah, pretty much. And he storms in, and when Robeson doesn't confess, which again, there was just enough truth in Abe's story to make it work, because he was like, "I didn't kill that guy. He's the murderer," and of course, he's totally not convincing because he did in fact kill that guy. But he hasn't been spying for Robert Rogers, even though that's kind of what he was supposed to do. So he hasn't been doing that, and Simcoe impales him and basically stands around. And it's the same thing in the duel episode from season 1 when he is beating Abe to a pulp, and then he turns to the rest of the soldiers because he wasn't a Queen's Ranger at the time. And he was like, he attacked me. You all saw it, right? And they were like, "Saw what?" And it was the exact same thing. He was like, oh, look, he took a spill. How unfortunate. That's so sad, as I'm stepping on him as he's taking his final breath while being impaled by this thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the point where you take that, because it was the thing holding firewood, right? You kind of take it over to the blacksmith and be like, can you blunt the edges on this a little bit? I mean, it kind of killed a man, so yeah, that's a falling hazard.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I just think that Simcoe, his rage in that particular instance was purely blind. I think almost anybody sitting in that chair, the fact that he let them clear the room prior to actually killing the man, and he didn't just put a bayonet to his throat and say, tell me what you know. And I don't think that the actual murder, I mean, it's still technically a murder, was intentional at that moment. I think that things got away from him. Where,
like he
as
was
pushed
just
it,
trying to rough him up.
He was trying to find out what he knows. I don't think that he was intending on killing him. So that when he did fall, he's like, well, no harm, no foul. For him, I think just brushes off his shoulders.
Yep, it was just casual manslaughter is what that was.
Yeah,
He's
Like,
dead
oh,
now.
And he's known for
He's
that.
dead now.
Yeah, for a moment, I thought he was going to murder De Jong in front of the whole town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, you called it, though, Katie, because Katie and I were watching together, and she's like, he's not going to do it. He's going to strike the barrel. And sure enough,
Because 10 seconds prior, he'd admitted to, I get my stuff from the black market.
yeah, that's true. Because it was the only thing he could confess to. I don't even know who Roger Roberts is.
It's just like, and that's the best way to convince someone is to get the name horribly wrong.
Who? I really don't know.
He has 2 first names. I don't know this guy.
So and granted, Simcoe switches up tactics after this, but during this entire time, I want to know, how far did you guys think he was going to take this? Because I thought that he was going to continue his rampage right then and there.
Yeah, I did as well. I didn't picture him stopping. Just I thought that the head was going to be rolling down the street and everything was going to continue. I didn't see I didn't have
Gonna
the
get
foresight
Sleepy
to see
Hollow
that. Yeah.
very, very quickly.
Yeah, I'm like, he's got that axe and he's ready to work. And so I was definitely surprised when the barrel was chopped in half. Katie, what do you think?
Again, I called him going after the barrel, and I'm not surprised that he just kind of went, okay, I'll wait. I'll murder y'all later.
Yep.
After no one gave him any secrets, because lo and behold, no one else in town is working for Robert Rogers.
But yeah, what's terrible though is that like he straight up admitted to everyone in town, I will burn this city to the ground if I have to find these traitors. And like, I mean, the first season we had an outside revolt in Setauket, and with the way things are going, without anybody to keep Simcoe in check, I kind of feel like Setauket itself isn't going to stand for it much longer.
Yeah.
Because the outside revolt was like, okay, we're caught in the middle of this. You know, there are some of us who don't like being under British rule, but for the most part, life goes on. We've got a system figured out. We're fine. Simcoe comes in and he's screwing up everyone's way of life and threatening to murder the town, and that kind of becomes the point where it's less about rebellion against the king and more about you get out.
Well, and like we even saw it in season 1 when they moved the tombstones, people weren't happy about that. They were ready to revolt with a mercenary threatening their lives without anybody there to keep him in check or keep some assembly of order. Like I feel like there's not really much standing between them and an actual revolt except fear. That's the only thing standing in their way right now.
And what did you say?
No, go ahead.
Fear is so compelling in the manner of him waiting. Like you said, you expected him to wait and actually put everything in order. That is a huge proponent of fear, because not knowing when those attacks are going to happen just allows them to live in fear. Everyone's going to go home, everyone's going to talk about it, and everyone's going to be scared. And now all these people that are going to start acting shifty, that may perhaps know something, may draw the eye of Simcoe. So that fear is it's growing and tenfold on top of itself by him waiting.
It's a witch hunt. That's exactly what it is. But like I said, Simcoe decided he was going to switch up tactics, again, based on the yarn that Abe spun about Robert Rogers finding out your secrets. So he goes up to Richard and he's like, tell me all your secrets.
I feel like, I don't know if anyone's into Thrilling Adventure Hour, but I feel like we had a Jib Janine sort of thing going on here. So, tell me all your secrets.
While we're revealing secrets, guys,
Ooh.
I believe there's a secret person on the line.
Ooh, a secret
secret caller.
Well, I am a spy. Nah, I'm
The
kidding,
master of spies himself, Ian Kahn, is on the line with us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Is that a Mengwin I hear before me?
You do indeed. It is Megan, and joining me is Katie and Keith. We're all here tonight.
Hi,
Hello.
Katie. Hi, Keith. Thank you guys so much for doing this for our show. We really do appreciate it.
Thanks for calling
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just landed at home, and timing is great. It all went according to plan. There were no hiccups, so I'm so glad that I could join you guys.
in. All right.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you, especially I was looking on Twitter earlier, and you were saying that this scene with Ben at the beginning of the episode was actually one of your favorite to film this season.
It was one of my favorites. We were, this was cool. We were shot this usually we shoot most of General Washington scenes in a tent, which is sort of at the studio. Mm-hmm. And on this day, because of the schedule and because we were on the road, we were, we were shooting something. This was actually around where Setauket is shot, and I had never been to Setauket before. So I was sort of driving through Setauket on this day, and it was just a fun day on set, and it was an interesting scene. I liked the scene a lot. I liked that General Washington was a little more sort of a sweet father to Ben, as opposed to sometimes he can be kind of a tough dad to Ben. And so I really enjoyed doing it, and Seth, as always, was great. So, yeah.
Yeah, he was very standoffish in season 2, so it was kind of nice to see them go back to this sort of father-son relationship that they had developed in season 1.
Yeah, I think that season 2, we'll look back on season 2 as sort of a really tough time for General Washington. Yeah, I mean things didn't go quite according to plan for him, and it was a really dark time during for the Continental Army. There were very few victories and a lot of defeats. And we really saw sort of a more human side. I was talking with someone recently about what made Muhammad Ali interesting, and what he said. He's a smart sports guy. He said once Ali lost, he became really interesting. Once he got knocked out by Joe Frazier, he became more interesting and more beloved. And watching Washington lose, I don't think that we all think of George Washington as a loser. But if you were following, if this were 1778, 1779, he very much was, considered a loser because he kept losing battles and it looked like he was going to lose the war.
Yeah, that is really bizarre to think. George Washington, one of our founding fathers, as somebody who's been kicked when he's down.
And
he was kicked all right, and they tried to get rid of him. So, it's sort of nice in this season. We're coming upon another dark time for the Continental Army with Benedict Arnold and everything that's going to happen there. We'll see some of that. But overall, this season has been a little bit more upbeat, and we get to meet Martha Washington, which was pretty fun.
We did.
Yeah, right. She was good.
Oh, she was
tremendous.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, you've gotten to act with some people that you haven't gotten to act with so far this season. You were able to act with Heather earlier this season, and with the actress who plays Martha, which again, absolutely phenomenal scene. What is it like getting to interact with people that you don't normally get to interact with on set?
Well, Mengwin, this is my third year doing this. Like, we're old pals at this point. First year I was in the studio with you guys. Second year we're on the phone. Third year we're on the phone. So I feel like, I know what it is to be in Burbank with y'all. Great respect. Good little. I remember the little cheeseburgers or muffins that we had that night watching the show. It was fun.
We did. When we had
I remember
screening
well.
rooms, we had like Amy and the rest of us had like a barbecue. Basically, we all brought in fried chicken and burgers and cookies and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you. So watching the show, as you know, because you guys watched the show, in season 1 and season 2, and until we finally meet Anna, until General Washington meets Anna in season 3, all of my scenes are with the boy type guys. They're all boys. So they're Benjamin Talmadges, they're Caleb Brewsters, they're General Scotts. They're General Lee, they're Billy Lee. It's all guy stuff. And this season, I got to hang out with Anna Strong and do some great stuff with her. I got to work with Lily Birdsong, who played Martha, and who was just fantastic. A pleasure to work with, and just great in the role. And Ksenia Solo. I got to work with Ksenia and dance with Ksenia, who, I'm telling you, there's a scene coming up later in the season where I'm putting it in your ear now that is so freaking fantastic that she does, that I was lucky enough to be in the room where it happened. Oh, you got that? Yeah. I was in the room where it happened, and what happened in that room was pretty good. Pretty awesome. So, it's been great, and still getting to work with, with Seth, and with Caleb, with Dan. It's a remarkable cast to be a part of. I mean, everyone is so good. Everyone is everywhere you turn. So getting to work with getting back to your question, getting to work with actors on this show that I have not worked with before, you're just sort of overwhelmed by how talented they are. And I don't even get to work with Nick Westrate and with Samuel Rukin. I mean, these are and Jamie Bell. I mean, everywhere you turn in this cast, Bern Gorman. Everywhere you turn in this cast, Megan Warner, I don't want to leave people out because everyone is great. It's just everyone's fantastic, and I think that we're seeing that in this season. It's just the best season, I think, and it's a pleasure to watch. Watching Owen do his work, watching everyone do their work, and everyone comes and they give it their all, and you see it on the screen because the show is just consistently good, consistently fun.
It really is.
This episode in particular. I really enjoyed your scene in the tent with Anna last time, and how it really came into the forefront now, whereas before it seemed more of she wasn't allowed to be a soldier, and she can't operate within the ranks of General Washington and his spies as they are now. But now she's that opportunity that can save the ring and bring everything together. How was it for you to play out that role where you can show that respect not only to Ben as like that fatherly role, but show, look, I may have been stoic before, but I know best type of situation. So bringing Anna back into the mix, was that big for you?
Well, I think it was. I think also we're at a point where I think Ben gets more credit for bringing Anna in than anything. I think that Washington's idea was to get 355, to get Abigail back in the mix. But I think also, people, I've noticed that some people get frustrated seeing Anna sort of cast aside, but we have to remember that this was very much a product of their time.
Absolutely.
We're talking about, Hillary Clinton is the Democratic nominee for the President of the United States in 2016, right? Mm-hmm. The idea that there would be a woman president in 1916 is absurd. The idea in 1816 or 1779 that there would be a woman who was part of the Army is just it's not palatable. There's no basic historical fact for that. What's awesome is that we did have these spies, and that Anna Strong and that Heather is so amazing in the role. We do get to see her play, and I read the scripts, of course, but then it's been a while since we shot that episode, so I kind of forgot. And so when it started to play out on the screen, I was like, oh shit! I mean, oh stuff! Look at that! Stuff! Look how cool that is! Oh yeah! Cicero does. Isn't that great? It's just good stuff.
All of it. It was fantastic.
Yes. Well, I was going to ask who you wanted to do a scene with that you haven't had a chance to yet, but I think you just listed everyone. So.
Simcoe. I want to do a scene with Simcoe.
Oh, God. Two men enter, one man leaves.
Yeah, I feel like we would rather that not happen.
No, I think we work it out. I think in good 18th century we find common ground. Actually, more realistically, the character that I'll never do a scene with Simcoe. It doesn't make any sense because they're not going to capture me, and we're not going to capture him. Because if we did, then we're really screwing with history, and that's something we try not to do on the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the scene that I look forward to shooting is the scene with Jamie Bell at the end of the series. If we get that far, to have the moment where Washington looks at him and goes, "I'm really sorry for all the crap I put you through. You've kind of done great, and sorry I've left you out to dry constantly." And that moment, which I kind of say to Jamie when I see him. I'm just like, dude, you really do carry a heavy weight for everybody. You really gotta. So that I think that's the scene that I would be realistically excited to do. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank him, because hey, we won the war.
We appreciate your work.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Basically, thank you. Sorry about all that. No hard feelings, right?
Okay, people watching at home, at this point, take a shot every time someone drops a Hamilton quote. We're up to 4. We started the show with Right Hand Man, so...
Nice. Nice. Well, that's one funny, interesting thing, right? Because Talmadge is a little bit of... We've got Hamilton coming next week, and you guys are going to be so excited. Sean is magnificent. And I don't know if you know the whole story about Sean and how he got the job, but Mengwen, you told me that you were having him on. Please make sure you ask him how he got this job, because it is so awesome how he got this job. And it's truly Hamiltonian how he got this job. And he does a magnificent, and he does it beautifully. And it was so exciting to have him on set in this capacity. But again, I don't want to tell that story. That's his story to tell. But I will say this: knowing Hamilton now as much as I do, the show is magnificent, magnificent, magnificent. The character of Talmadge really does have. He really is sort of Washington's right-hand man on the show, in a way. And now Hamilton's coming in, and hopefully next season Hamilton will be in more and more. But Talmadge really does take that position in so much, and Seth is so wonderful in the role. Is he not? Is Seth Nimrick not just magnificent in the role? Not only is he beautiful, but you actually see his honor. Like Seth Nimrick is a man of great honor. Like if you know him, if you get to know him the way that I've been fortunate enough to get to know him, he's a true man. Like he actually steps into the boots of a good man every day, but he is that good man. Like he does think higher of the world and try to make the world a better place in every way. And he's just great, and he's just great in the role. So.
And it's been such a nice character arc so far too, because in season 1 he was very idealistic and very optimistic about the cause and everything like that. And now, especially with everything that he's gone through, he just kind of carries this weight. And even though he's not like moping all the time, you can definitely tell that weight is always there, even when he's talking with his good friends. It's something, that burden it's not gonna leave him until this war is won.
Yeah. I feel like he feels a little torn between, it's as we saw in this episode, being a soldier and being a spy, whereas he's constantly being reprimanded when the spy ring doesn't come to its full fruition, or if there's any kink in the plan, which as he should, because that's what's saving them in the war. But to see him actually plan a strategy now using his ring as a soldier and getting that approval from you, it really resonates for his character and showing the growth of where he's become as a soldier and as a spy. And ultimately, your right-hand man, which I think is incredible. He's done a great job.
And he's earned it. I mean, if you look at what he's done, he's taken the worst moments of General Washington's anger of anybody on the show. He still loves him so much. You know, I mean, he treats his boss with such kindness and reverence, even when his boss is being kind of a brat. And sometimes his boss is being a brat. You know, he's got a lot on his shoulders to give General Washington certainly a break. But, you know, I think we saw this, and something that Seth and I were really cognizant of coming into season 3. We were like, we don't just want it to be that season 2 didn't happen. You know, there's a growth there. He saved Washington's life at the end of season 2. He stopped the assassination attempt. He he was like, listen to me, Dad, sit down. Just sit down, let me handle everything. We're keeping you safe, and we're going to, you know. And there's a certain respect there. I think that's why I would like that scene so much, because it was sort of unexpected. Because Ben's like, I stink. I'm going to go. And Washington's like, yeah, no, you don't stink. And, you know, you're not going anywhere. You're staying right here with me, because I'm not going anywhere unless I have you, and you're better than you think you are, you know? So I really did like that scene so much. Yeah, so great.
Congratulations. You don't get to leave.
You don't get to leave. Yeah, I do not accept your resignation. I think that was the line, too.
Yeah.
I do not accept your resignation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a question. We have a question from the chat from Caitlin, who is joining us live for the very first time. How did you prepare for the role of Washington?
Prayed. No. Well, I did pray a little bit, but I tried to learn as much as I could about the man. And I've said this before, but I think it's really true. For an actor, the more information that you have can really spark your imagination. So if I understand, what I got to understand about the man that I had no idea about was what his life was like from early childhood and really through his adolescence and his teen years and his 20s, and how much that for me, I could relate to that personally, because he was a bit of a schmuck when he was young. And so was I. Like, he made really bold and foolish choices, and so did I. And he made people angry with his choices often, and so did I. And he did not find sort of peace until he failed, and he failed tremendously. People don't know this. Many people don't know this. Historians do. But, there was a war before the War for the Revolution, which was the French and Indian War. Washington was a colonel in the French and Indian War, and one of the highest ranked American soldiers, and his goal was to be a British officer. That was his goal. He wanted to be like the British. And he found himself under the command of a general who then died in battle. Washington took over I'm forgetting some of the details right now, but took over the unit, and essentially, with a choice that he made, started the French and Indian War and became a laughing stock throughout the world.
Yep.
And this was at age 22, 23.
Yep.
And basically, as much as people celebrated him later, was how much they made fun of him then for the foolish choices that he made, the young, foolish, bold, arrogant choices. And then he would tell superior officers that they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So they were like, "We don't like you so much. You need to go away now." And then over time, he learned to keep his mouth shut. So one thing that I try to bring to the character is not this sort of, and I don't know if I always get it, but not this sort of statue of a guy who, if we see on the dollar bill, he kind of looks dead behind his eyes. Like, I don't think of him that way at all. I think of him as somebody who inside is revved with passion and life and thought and fears and consciousness, but has learned to quiet that publicly so that he could be a steadying force to the Continental Army, and then later as he became the president of the first president under this Constitution of the United States. So that's what I tried to do, was see how I can relate to the man. I think that's every actor's job, is we find how we can actually relate to the character, and then how we're different from the character, and then how we merge with the character. So that's how I prepared, and I had a man named Daniel Shippey who runs something called the Breeds Hill Institute, who spent the last 15 years of his life being a George Washington impersonator and studying the man. And going around on the West Coast and throughout the country, teaching young people and adults what Washington was all about. And I had a friend who knew him and said, when I got the job, this is somebody who you should really talk to. And then I was like, oh my God, I really do need to talk to this person. And we would spend 3 hours a day on the phone when I first got the job, and I was learning as much as I possibly could from him. And to this day, I talk with him about every script. He gets every script, and we go over every word. And he sends me letters from the time. Like, he'll say, well, yes, you said to General, you sent General, this great, he said, General Arnold sent you this letter, and this is what it said, and you should read it. And I read it, and it fills in so many gaps for me. Yeah. So I have to tip my wig to him constantly.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's tremendous. It seems like you've got the unique opportunity to be able to physically step into the man's shoes, or at least into his brain, and those he corresponded with for small periods of time. I think that really allows you to build that character that we see on screen, where you come across as stoic, but it definitely seems like you're the most calm man in the room, whereas everything could be chaotic. You definitely know that you're thinking, you're breaking down what is actually happening around you, which is interesting because a couple weeks ago we got to see where it was Talmadge who noticed something that otherwise Washington may have overlooked, which is something maybe up with during this dance. And so it was nice to see you with the misses and letting down that guard of constantly being the man constantly in control and overlooking and processing what's happening and passing that off to your right-hand man. So I think personally as a viewer, I think your portrayal of Washington is one of the best I've seen on television or in film. I mean, it's a very difficult role to portray and come across with that, empowering feeling when you enter the room. It's just like, all right, well, let's
with that authenticity.
Let's see what he's got to say. So, kudos to that.
Let me just say thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate that, and it's something I strive. We all strive to do. Everyone up there is doing that to their. I'm playing the most famous guy on the show, but everybody is everybody's doing it, and everybody is awesome. It's really, like I said, it's like being on an all-star team. It feels like for me.
Yeah.
When I watch the show, I'm just like, look at what you're doing, man. Wow. And I'm telling you this right now. Wait till you see the last 2 episodes of the season.
We can't wait. That's the problem.
It's so good.
You're so excited. And I really do appreciate, talking about him in his younger days, too, because it gives a lot of context to that scene we had with Martha Washington a couple weeks ago, where she was basically telling him, you just want to be liked. There's a difference between wanting to be respected and wanting to be liked, which, again, if you take that in makes so much sense why that hits really hard for him.
Isn't it cool though? I was so happy with that episode with Martha, just because you get to see it. He really loved her, man. I mean, he had real joy there, and he missed her, and to be able to, and she's such a lovely actress, and is an equally nice person. Just from the moment I met her, I was just like, wow, you're just great. So hopefully we'll be able to see more of her. I really hope so.
Here's hoping.
I hope so.
Here's hoping, man.
Fingers crossed. The ladies have been bringing it this season.
Well, Martha came to visit the camp for the holidays, didn't she? Like every year?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
But it's hard. There's so many storylines, and we've got we got a war to win. So I think that's where they were. Certainly this season, they were really focused. The writers have been focusing on, and some awesome stuff. Come on, that stuff with Hewlett and Anna last night.
Oh.
I mean,
I needed those heartstrings, and the show decided that they needed to be removed. That hurt.
good stuff. Good stuff.
One of the producers
Yeah,
actually
very good.
tweeted me last night and was like, you were going to be beside yourself. And I was like, why?
That was a producer that tweeted you?
Latoya, yeah.
Oh, God, I thought that was from a fan. I didn't. Wow. Okay.
Nope.
That's Latoya.
Yeah.
She's one of our writers. She's quite genius, is what she is. As is Daniel Henshaw. Come on, man. He fills the screen, doesn't he? He plays Caleb, right? He
he's
just
fantastic.
fills the screen. And that moment where he was in the leaf pile last night,
Yeah.
it's like everywhere you turn, it's like, oh, I love him.
Caleb
Oh,
deserves
she's great.
congratulations, too, for being the guy to always roll around in the dirt and basically run around throughout the woods. He definitely deserves a handshake by the end of the series as well.
I just love that the first part of that conversation boiled down to, 1, don't you dare pee on me, and 2, your wife is amazing.
Yeah, right? I love doing every time I do a scene with Dan, it's just fun. It's fun to do them, and because I get to like, I think Washington likes Caleb Brewster an awful lot. He thinks he's really funny, but he also wants him to shut up. Like there was one moment early in the season where Caleb's like, "Oh, hey, and then we could do this." He's like, "Get out. You're dismissed. Get out. Get out." Like you, I can yell at. Tell him I got to be a little more. You just get out. Get out, young man. Fun stuff.
Yep. No, yeah, like you said, nobody's going to say, Your Excellency, you're being a brat. So he has to head on out. Yeah, let's, we are running a little short on time, so we should...
Let's hit the big points.
We do. We have to kind of hit some of the things, because one of the biggest aspects about this episode was the parallelism that we had between Ben and John Andre.
The writing and the shots for that. I love parallelism. It's one of my favorite things that TV shows with multiple storylines do. And so beginning the storyline and wrapping the storyline with these two sets of shots talking about, can we trust them? Do we need them? Oh, I was so happy.
Good stuff, right?
Extremely.
Yeah,
really good.
Definitely talking about how brilliant the writers are this season. It's like the parallel dialogue that we've seen throughout this season. It's definitely been a motif that they've been going more towards in this season in particular. It's just been fantastic. And all of
it also kind of shows, these are two sets of people who are on opposite sides of the chessboard, and we're all going for the same thing in a slightly different way. But yeah, I really like it. It really plays great.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Paul Revere ride and how literally no one was suspicious of that? Absolutely no one. I was expecting a scene of, where were you all night? Out. Yeah, all right.
places. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. We're good.
Well, he
How
did,
good is? How good? Wait. Sorry, for real. How good is Townsend though? Right?
he's so good.
The amazing
He's just like
fighting
super
Quaker.
spy. He's like super spy. And when he goes back in and they're like, we have a traitor in our midst, and he's like, would you like more tea? I'm like, yeah, you go. You go get your info. It's so cool.
Speak of
Isn't
the
it great?
devil.
Because like here's where we spent all of this time setting up this ring, right? And like trying to get this thing to work. And like it's working. Like right now, and Washington gets information. The fact that we get the information about Middlebrook, how great is that? It's just great. It's just
Yeah.
great. And then we frustrate them and take the fort. It's all very good.
Well, and I
I don't know
love
if you guys talked about Ben's hat. What about his hat? You guys talk about his hat?
I love that stupid hat.
his hat when he's charging into battle is just the best thing ever.
I'm in charge. Look at me.
We need a way. We're shooting the scene at night, and there's a lot of people running around, and there's a lot of muted colors. We need a way to tell which one is our current main character. Let's give him a silly hat.
No, that's a very, very, very good theory, but that is not in fact correct. Because if you go back to the pilot episode, you will see that that is the hat that man wears when he kicks butt.
Oh yeah,
When he
no,
goes
I
out to
know.
kick butt, that's his hat. And it's like, he's
The
like, we've
princess
got
hat.
the fort. And my wife looked at me and goes, but does he have his hat? Yes, he has his hat too. He's got everything. The fort's got
Don't
the
you
hat.
worry. You just got it pressed. It's all ready to go.
Well, and
Don't worry, gentlemen. I'm wearing my hat.
the major
right.
the major thing talking about this as a chess match is that prior to this, neither side knew that the other side had a spy, and now this is that classic spy thing of they know that we know that they know. And it's gotten to the point where now they know what game they're playing, and that to me is that's so exciting moving forward in terms of trying to figure out who the rat is, who the mole is. It's gonna go all
I'm telling
Reservoir
you,
Dogs.
the next 2 episodes are going to be really good.
It might actually go all Reservoir Dogs on us.
Well, we did get a nice little preview of Andre getting thrown into the dirt, so I'm sure things will just end super well.
Well,
Wow.
one other kind of going to be interesting sort of thing is we're probably going to get a team up between Robert Rogers and Philomena.
I can't wait. They're
Hell
both just
hath
like
no fury like a woman scorned.
Well, not even scorned, and then there's, well, I'm going to dress you up like the person I'm actually in love with, and then yell at you when it turns out, surprise, surprise, women are not interchangeable. So I love this team up, and I love that it could have gone so poorly for Philomena, and she's immediately like, yeah, no, screw that guy. It's like, oh, you hate him? I hate him too. Let's be besties and murder him.
All true. And a little side note, Amy and I were together when we came to AfterBuzz during season 1. So I know Amy, and she's an excellent actress and doing a great job on the show, as is Angus McFrickin' who is, damn, that boy's good. I mean, just everyone's filling up the screen. They're just filling up the screen.
He is fantastic.
Kevin McNally filling up the screen.
They are
Everybody
all
just
fantastic. And
playing
now,
it
now Angus
such
has
a high level.
He has to play the role now without any depth perception too. Yeah. Like on top of everything else.
Come on, how fun was that when Simcoe's like, yes, I know, I blinded him.
That was a pretty accurate Simcoe impersonation.
And now I'm terrified.
Come on, we all do Simcoe, right?
Yeah,
Don't you
you've
do
got some
Simcoe?
voicemails you can be leaving for people.
No. Some of us stay away from that.
Oh,
Can only
good.
handle
Oh,
so much
okay.
chaotic evil in my life.
All right.
Well,
I understand. But he's very good.
Oh, he's
tremendous.
extremely good.
Fantastic. Other major point, and I feel like it's kind of appropriate that we're going through like the bullet points of the episode because everybody got a little bit of everything this episode, which isn't something that we get. We got a little bit of Abigail, we got a little bit of Peggy, we got a little bit of everybody, so it was really fantastic. But Peggy and Arnold actually tied the knot in this week's episode. I almost wasn't expecting that. I was, in some in my head, for whatever reason, I was expecting them to get married in like the next season. I wasn't expecting it to happen so soon.
I just love the Simpsons quote that worked for everything, worked for this one. You can pinpoint the moment where her heart tears in half. Right there.
Except, wait a minute, though. If you remember to the last episode, episode 7.
That's true. She wanted to get married.
There was
now.
an amazing scene there. One of my favorite scenes of the season where Owen and Ksenia, where Owen comes back after his court-martial. And we have that sort of now epic moment where he throws the thing into the fire. But right before that, she looks at him, and she's given up on Andre. And she's like, you know what? I love you. You're a good man. I'm behind you. Let's make that happen. And I saw a twinge of that as well last night. It's like, it's just, this is the way her life is going right now. I think Owen and Ksenia are absolutely fantastic together. The two of them are doing just amazing work. And I just, and they're just also lovely people. So there it is.
Yeah, Ksenia's performance makes me want to cry, in all honesty.
Yes.
I feel like my heart goes out to poor Peggy.
And I think as a character pair, the two, they blend together nicely.
They
She
really
has
do.
what he really doesn't. She's got the intellect, whereas he's a lot more brash. And
She
more
has
of
the tact.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
She is a very good handler for him.
Yeah.
That's
Gosh, she's good.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. And we learned that he is going to be put in charge of West Point. So that's
Yes.
a terrible, terrible thing to have this now fully committed traitor put in charge.
I want to
of
give a
West Point.
spoiler. Do I
Ooh.
want to give a spoiler? All right.
I think you
I
can.
mean,
Well, we have a
There's,
spoiler
okay,
button.
I'm going to say this. There's a character coming back next episode that people are going to be pretty excited is back. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh.
I'm going to throw down and say Akin Bode.
That's my guess, too. He's been away all season. I feel like that's a fair guess.
Admittedly, he's filming another show, so...
Ian, you have a great poker face. It's
That we
Yeah, I do
can't
have a
see.
poker face. I'll tell you one thing, because we are wrapping up, and I'll give you my last hint right as we're wrapping up. But I want to say again to thank you guys, Megan, especially you, for being, but all three of you for supporting our show and for being so excited about it and for enjoying it as much as you do and for promoting it to other people. It does make a difference for us. We oftentimes watch your show and say, hey, what did you think of it? Because we get a fresh, intelligent viewpoint of the work it is that we're doing. So, you guys are serving your purpose beautifully, and I want to thank you for that on behalf of all of us. Thank you for helping us to grow the show and make it become a little bit more successful every week.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. That really, really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because we think of this as like we just get a chance to sit down and talk about a show that we really enjoy every week. So
We're gonna go shout into the ether for 60 minutes. We're good. We're good.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go so you can wrap up, and I'll just say one last thing as I hit the road. Thank you again to you guys in AfterBuzz. And last point, it is not a Kimbo Day.
Ooh, I like that.
Later.
There it is.
See you guys soon, and thank you again.
Thank you. Where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
Oh, I'm sorry. On Twitter at Ian Kahn, and I just started a Facebook page also. Ian Kahn, same thing, kind of thing. But Twitter at Ian Kahn is I live tweet during the show, and I really do like hearing from the fans. You guys are awesome. 2 big thumbs up.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ian.
Thank
Have
you,
a
sir.
wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It was super fun.
All right, we'll
Glad
see
you had a good time.
Hope to see you
Okay.
soon.
Bye.
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 Oh, what an awesome guy.
George Washington's
Fantastic.
going home.
All right, the only other thing I want to touch on with this episode, he brought it up, and I hate to do it before we just give rapid fire predictions and then we get out of here because they should totally kick us out. Anna and Hewlett, it was heart-wrenching, it was well acted, the dialogue was great. She may or may not love him still. That's kind of still up in the air, but it's not over yet.
Hewlett knows she was a spy now, and she gave him no reason to continue to protect her, which is a pretty dang terrible strategic move. Also, Anna now knows that Benedict Arnold is a traitor.
Yeah,
Like, that was a thing that occurred.
because damn. And also, I feel like this season could have used a lot more Abigail, and I hope we see more of Abigail in the future. Keith,
Yes,
any other thoughts on the Hewlett Anna storyline?
I mean, I think that the reason she was safe, and by her actually being honest for the first time with him, that's what's really going to grant her passage through the rest of New York.
I hope so, because I feel like now that she's come clean with everything, I feel like if there is any hope for their relationship, that it can start now. Because a relationship cannot be built on a foundation of lies. And we see that with Abe and Mary, because now that they're being honest with each other, their relationship is better than ever, too. So I am hoping that's what happens. I can dream. I can dream. It's fine.
I think that ship has been effectively torpedoed, and I say that as someone
They
who is...
already burned it. Speaking of Simpsons quotes, like I was just thinking while watching this scene, there's a Simpsons gif. Stop it! He's already dead. It's just like, that's my heart right
There's
now.
a Simpsons quote for everything.
There really is. Well, okay, let's give some really rapid fire predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Turnland in chat thinks that our returning character is America's favorite fighting Frenchman.
Lafayette! Oh my God, that'd be so great. That would be fantastic. And again, we're getting Alexander Hamilton next week, so that would be perfect.
That'd be amazing
It looks
if that's
like
what we teach.
John Andre is actually going to like go down into the trenches to do some like one-on-one spy work with Benedict Arnold, which probably gonna backfire on him. Looking at things,
this seems like a bad idea.
it does.
A lot.
He's feeling pretty confident now, though, especially after the botched mission. So I'm
Exactly.
thinking that all eyes are on him.
He basically told Clinton, like, I told you so.
Yeah.
Like, so let me get back to doing my thing. So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for tonight's episode. We will go ahead and trundle on out of the studio. Keith, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
You can find me all over the internet at Keith W. Black, where you can also check out my film that is released on Amazon and iTunes at Toy the Movie.
Nice.
Katie.
I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. We still have the Ranger Danger shirt on sale at TeePublic. Search Kiaxet. It's there, and I think they're having a sale right now. So do the thing, win the stuff. I will be back next week because I have no other shows right now.
Oh. I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. I did a review of The Conjuring 2. Go check out what I had to say about it. Again, if you guys haven't already done so, iTunes, rate, subscribe. You will get a shout out on the show if you leave a comment. And also, just guys, it really helps us get guests like, I don't know, Ian Kahn and things like that. Again, thank you so much to Ian for joining us. Thank you to everybody in the live chat and the hashtag. Absolute pleasure chatting with you guys. We will see you all next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.